Ladies and gentlemen, let me check and see if my audio is correct. Is it picking up my... No. It's from my computer. Sorry, it probably sounds like shit. We'll get to it. Alright, so the mic should sound good. We are here to talk about the trade deadline. Obviously not just that, we also had some NBA games to cover tonight. I need to try to get this done in like 45 minutes because I need to get back to listening to J. Cole. I'm not really sure how long the second half of that album is going to be. I'm going to try to calculate that real quick. But 6, 3, 9, 14, 17, 21, 26, 31, 37, 42, 46. Dude, okay. It's going to be a long fucking night, dude. Alright, let's get into these games, and then I'll talk about all the trades. We'll react to an article I saw pulled up, so we'll kind of just do that. I don't want to, like, go trade by trade. Not every single trade matters, so that's kind of that. Let's go to NBA on ESPN. We got the right page popped up. My Celtics made some moves, too, so we'll talk about that, of course. But let's first get into this. Holy shit, Washington, as a lottery team, is taking down teams. You beat the Pistons? This is kind of insane. But, what can we say? Will Riley and Cooper, they lead the undermanned Wizards past the Pistons by 9. They literally don't have all their guys, and they still beat Cade and them. Shout out to Shareek Cooper. I'm really happy to see him have a roster spot after kind of battling with teams like the Atlanta Hawks. But him and Will Riley, again, Illinois guy, love to see it. Crazy upset. This was insane. We'll watch the highlights here in a second. I'm going to mute this for now because I don't really care to hear the game audio, or not the game audio, fuck, I'm like stuck on video games. I mean, obviously, like, Javonte Green made it tough this game. He's a very nice athletic guy. And Duncan Robinson, you know, dude, this is annoying. I can't, bro. I can't with this dumbass computer. This computer's a pile of garbage. I'm not dealing with this right now. I don't have time to fucking sit here, bro. Don't go to the fucking recap. Show me the fucking highlights. You damn idiot. Why does this all of a sudden just want to act fucking dumb? It pisses me the fuck off. Get your shit in order over there at ESPN, bro. It's not my fucking internet. I have really good Wi-Fi. And if this doesn't want to load, fuck it. We'll talk about the box score. Again, I know you guys want to hear me talk basketball. I don't have time for this shit. Okay, here we go. They don't give me an ad for my struggles. Is that Bub Carrington? No. Is that Bub?
Cade spins to the rim.
Look at Cade. They lost, bro. Look at Cade. I gotta see what went wrong here. This is fucking crazy. This is a rare loss for the Pistons.
Still has it.
And
puts it up from the paint and fills it up.
Is that?
Foul called.
Who the fuck is double zero?
Count? Riley with the ball. Shot clock at 5.
That's Will Riley. That's
Riley
Bub
Carrington.
Has to be.
Gets to the basket. Nice.
Yeah, Will Riley's kind of coming into his own. They just picked up Anthony Davis,
roll.
obviously, so there's that too. We'll talk about all that in a second.
Running out for the Wizards.
That is Chris Duarte.
Banks it in. That was a desperation
what am I
shot.
watching?
A half hook.
That was insane.
Off a double
That's
clutch.
Shareef Cooper.
When stuff like this goes, you have to
Shareef Cooper with like the Stephon Castle look. I think that's Shareef.
The Wizards with a valiant upset.
Yeah, I had to take a break, dude. J. Cole, that's a lot of music, bro. A lot of music to drop at once. He probably should have just dropped 2 albums in the same year. That probably would have worked better for his press, but you look at the Wizards who get the victory. 14 points out of Justin Champagnie. He shot 50-75 splits, was hustling on the glass. You get 12 points for Alex Sarr. He shot 50%. He's a great rebounder for this team. You get 12 out of Bub Carrington. You get 11 out of Bilal Coulibaly, who was out there grabbing boards. Just a really good team effort. No one really stood out as a star, but like 11 for Anthony Gill off the bench. He shot 67-50 splits. He's a big defensive piece. Vukcevic, that's who that is. 14 points. He shot 75% from 3 and was a great at the rim defender. A lot of defense here. 18 for Shareef Cooper, 67-40 splits, and sure, he had a lot of turnovers, but that's the guy on that bench unit. They had the ball in his hands the most out of everyone. and he was passing the ball as well through it all. So, when you're a primary ball handler, that's just going to happen. 20 for Will Riley. He shot 40% from 3, and he was stellar, man. He was grabbing rebounds. He was passing the ball around. He was playing defense. Maybe this will show the Washington Wizards coach something about this team. I mean, that's really cool. Shout out to the Wizards. They get the victory over the Pistons. Obviously, you look at the Pistons who took the loss. 21 points for Duncan Robinson. Surely it's not great for him to be a pure three-point shooter. He's been doing it his whole career. I mean, he shot 40% from there. 30 out of Cade. Really didn't shoot the greatest, but at least he was rebounding and passing the ball at a high level. 13 points. Oscar Thompson played great. I can't complain about him at all. He was rebounding the ball. He was defending on all 3 levels of the floor. He was on the perimeter ripping the ball. He was diving on loose balls. He was blocking shots at the rim. Them Thompson twins are fucking special on defense, let me tell you. 11 and 10 for Ron Holland. Certainly not the greatest shooting night, but whatever. Isaiah Stewart definitely struggled. I don't know what happened to Jalen Duren, but Isaiah Stewart definitely struggled this game. They gave him a lot of fucking minutes. Again, Ron Holland could have used even more minutes than he got. You have Paul Reed, you have Wendell Moore, you have Javonte Green, Karis LeVert, Marcus Sasser, countless bench options. And you look at a guy like Paul Reed, who's efficient at scoring and rebounding. You have a guy like Wendell Moore, who's efficient at scoring. Javonte Green, not the greatest three-point shooter, but he can score inside and he can play really good on-ball defense. Karis LeVert. You have Marcus Sasser, very efficient guy. So I just don't know. Moving on here, let's get into Utah and the Hawks. The Hawks squeeze out a win, and then we'll talk about the last 2 games that just concluded, basically, like a half hour ago. NAW hits the winner with 1.3 seconds left, and they get a nice win. Again, the Hawks are kind of trying to get over that hump. They lift them up. They win by 2. They break the tie. Great scoring night for NAW. Again, he's definitely coming into his own as an offensive player with this franchise, and that is really cool to see. He's been huge, the cousin of Shai Gilgeous. I mean, what more can you ask for? Absolutely in the clutch. Jalen Johnson hitting tough shots all game. Jock Lawndale just got to Atlanta, and he's making an impact. And the guy they picked up earlier in the season, Corey Kispert, he was hitting threes. So we might be seeing a new era now. I mean, you're playing a lottery team like the Jazz. Is this really Is that really crazy? No, but a win is a win in the NBA, and certainly the Hawks have had their fair struggles at home, but they're looking to turn that around post the trade deadline, and I am here for it. I am looking forward to seeing. Look at Jalen Johnson, man. I mean, the guy is a walking stat sheet. We'll get into all the performers here in a second. I'm trying not to look at Twitter because people are probably going to try to spoil the J. Cole album for me. I'm not going for that, man. We ain't doing that shit.
Find what you love, sell what you don't. eBay. Things people love.
I gotta get a lot of editing done tomorrow because I'm gonna be gone basically all day Saturday from what it sounds like. I don't 100% know my plans yet, but I feel like that's where we're going with it. Bang! Jock Lawndale. Very good stretch big. I like Jock Lawndale. He's kind of developing in this league. That's just really good defense. Wow. I mean, what? And very good leak out for Collier. That was a great play by the Utah Jazz. Collier. He's kind of developing. I mean, he's looking good. Keontae George kind of sitting some games out. They're tanking. So it's cool to see him get some opportunities. Yeah, NAW. Ooh, yeah, look at Jock Lawndale in the goddamn clutch. Jock Lawndale looked great. I love it. I love him on this team. It's a very good fit. And to get rid of Porzingis and pick up some more wing guys and guards, that's amazing. I think the Hawks could be a solid team in the future. It's going to take them a couple of years, but I don't know. They don't look too bad here. They got a lot of pieces, man. Jalen Johnson's great. Dyson Daniels is still fairly young. NAW is still fairly young. What about it, man? I mean, Jonathan Kuminga is still a somewhat young player in the league as well. It's crazy. So, yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes for them. I'm excited. I'm rooting for the Hawks. I really like Jalen Johnson. He's one of my favorite players in the NBA. 18 for Lauri Markkanen. I can't complain about how he played. 50-60 splits, great rebounding. 15 and 17, a great game for Kyle Filipowski as well. He shot 67% from 3. 25 points for Isaiah Collier. He couldn't really get the 3 ball to fall, but I mean, 25 and 11 off of 50% shooting, grabbing rebounds, playing on the perimeter. Are you shitting me? That guy's great. Maybe he's the answer, not Keontae. No, I don't know. They have a guard overload. They need to kind of handle this. 20 points out of Ace Bailey. Definitely not the greatest shooting night, but he was hustling on the glass. He was playing on the perimeter. An 8-man rotation. This is kind of insane. Bryce Sensabaugh put up 18 off the bench. He shot 60% from 3. You get 14 as well for Shvi McCulloch. He shot 60-50 splits. Definitely kind of a struggle game for Cody Williams, and I love him as a defender, as a young guy kind of coming out of college here. But you got options on the bench, and they didn't really use them. Bryce Sensabaugh, Shvi McCulloch, like I said before, definitely could have used more minutes in a game like this. You look at the Hawks, 22, 16, and 15. I mean, that is absolutely incredible for Jalen Johnson, and he is a hell of a defender as well to add on to that. 26 for Jock Landale, 26 and 11. And that guy was passing the ball. That guy was playing incredible defense, especially at the rim. It's a pretty solid defensive team is what they're trying to build themselves here. And you get a 23-point game for NAW who shot 60%. Still a really good passer at that point guard position and a really good defender. 11 points for Dyson Daniels. He shot 50% from 3. He was rebounding. He was passing. 20 off the bench. Look at Kispert Go shooting 50% from 3 after absolutely drilling the Hawks like a couple of months ago. They pick him up like months before the trade deadline, and now the guy is putting up some good minutes. I'm very happy with this Hawks team. Again, this isn't like a statement win or anything. Again, we're talking about the Utah Jazz, but it's really awesome. Let's get into Golden State versus Phoenix. We got some stuff to talk about here. Golden State takes them down. I would still say Phoenix is definitely a contender in the West, and this just kind of amounts to the Warriors who struggle at on the road, finally getting some shit going, and that is great. That is awesome to see. The Warriors erase a 14-point deficit. It was looking bad, and honestly, both of these last 2 games we're going to talk about. But they were down by 14 in the fourth quarter. They win by 4. I'm sure Flight Reacts is going to be excited. Pat Spencer having one of the best games of his career, especially scoring the ball. Guy Santos was out there offensively. They didn't have their guys. I mean, obviously Steph Curry is out in this game, and they still get it done. I mean, you got to love it. I'm sure Curry was loving this. You see it there. They come back. Obviously, like, Dylan Brooks was hitting some tough shots. He was really the only, like... And to be fair, the Suns were definitely shorthanded as well, not having Devin Booker for the longest time, but Dylan Brooks definitely made it tough on him to win this game. Colin Gillespie was hitting some big shots. He's had a huge year for this team, you know, from the three-point land. He should probably be in the three-point contest. Someone on the Suns team needs to be in the three-point contest. That's all I'm saying. I know I'm yapping, but let's get into these highlights. I cannot look at Twitter. Fuck. I'm like trying to spare myself here. I'm trying to chill out on that. I'm literally doing this video, listening to J. Cole, and then I'm going to fucking bed.
Let me guess.
No debate. I'm fucking exhausted. Are those Rick Owens?
Thanks.
What is this commercial?
Find what you love, sell what you don't.
Those are Rick
eBay.
Owens.
Things
We got
people
this off
love.
eBay. What is this fucking commercial? Okay. Whatever, dude. Look at my... Ooh, good ball movement. Great swinging. I mean, that's textbook. Pat Spencer, corner. Back up bastard. I heard some guys at the rec center at my school saying that. I was like, really? Okay. Dylan Brooks. I like the season Dylan Brooks is having. Is he most improved? Maybe not because he's a veteran. But he's having a most improved caliber year, I'd say. Maybe not for his standards. But you get... Not sure if that's a push-off or Melton was trying to flop. I could see Dylan Brooks being dirty, though. That's great, dude. That's just good defense. I mean, that was low-key a travel, but it's just a fun game if you're a Warriors fan. I mean, the Warriors, for not having a lot of their guys lately, they're in quite the spot. Foul here, of course. Oh my God. Good. What is this? Oh my God. What is fucking happening? This is that was incredible. Okay, Steph, I don't know why you're getting on the court. You could get it fucking technical, but that was that was a crazy way to end the fucking game. Holy shit. Wow, I didn't expect that. But you look at this. Through the absence of Curry, you got guys like Guy Santos putting up 18, shooting 67, 50 splits, passing the ball really well. You get 17 out of D'Anthony Melton. He's a hell of a defender. You get 20 out of Pat Spencer. A lot of three-ball shooting, man. 60% from that range. He was grabbing rebounds. He was playing hella good defense. You get 13 out of Al Horford off the bench, who shot 40% from three. You get 15 for GP2, who shot 50% from three. And again, he plays way bigger than he is. He's able to crash glass all the time, and that's fun to watch. Suns lose this game. You get 24 for Dillon Brooks. Definitely struggled inside, but was definitely hitting some threes as well. He was hustling on the rebounds. Really good, nice, simple game for Mark Williams with 11 and 10 there. 21 for Grayson Allen. Not the greatest interior guy, but he was hitting some threes. He was grabbing rebounds. You get 11 for Colin Gillespie. Again, he's not the greatest interior guy, but those three guys can just smack the three. So I don't have much complaints about them there. Royce O'Neal, I like him as a three-point shooter. I like him as a passer on this team, but again and again, he struggles inside. It kind of taints his offensive game. And they don't really have the depth to back him up anyway. So Devin Booker being out is definitely negatively affecting this Phoenix Suns team. We'll have to see what they do. Again, I still think they're in contention for a title possibly this year. You just never know. Let's move into Philly and LA. This kind of got scary for LA for a while, but they've been cruising this year. They've been playing good ball. Obviously, the Sixers have been playing some decent ball as well. So this was a really good matchup. Austin Reeves is back, I believe. Well, maybe this is his first game back, but Luka Doncic got hurt. Anyways, Austin Reeves dropped 35. Luka, yeah, he left the game, which is probably why they were about to lose. But man, the Lakers are in contention for a title this year, regardless of what you weirdos have agendas with this Lakers team. They're in there. Hopefully, Luka Doncic is good though. They get a 4-point victory. Austin Reeves played 25 minutes. He's on minute restriction, and this guy is out there smacking threes. Like, if this says anything, it's like, when LeBron is gone, this team has players. So, I don't know. Yeah, Austin Reeves is fucking crazy. I mean, he's just an absolute baller. Obviously, LeBron James late in the clutch. He didn't play the greatest throughout this game, but late in the clutch when it mattered, he sealed it for him. AR. Just an absolute magician, especially from that perimeter. The guy's dangerous. The guy can... I'm so happy for Austin Reeves. I really like kind of the career that's becoming out of him, you know. Being like, not really a frowned upon, but someone that people kind of threw to the side as a prospect. And now he is just owning it, man. He is owning it in the league right now.
In their faces when I said
some people invest in stocks, but for me,
it's Margiela.
Yeah, is this eBay though? Like, is this more eBay shit? You're not buying a fucking Ferrari on eBay, guys. You're not buying
eBay. Things people love.
Legit Rick Owens. No, you're not buying legit Balenciaga, dude. People are lying to you. Come on.
Luka.
See what Luka did pre-injury. Good little mid. That's easy. I mean, Luka just plays at his own pace. What else is there to really say about him? I need to go watch Clark again. I'm really... Grind, bro. I swear, dude. Everyone that comes out of Houston is so goddamn athletic. This dude is crazy. What the fuck did I just watch? Jokic, or not fucking Embiid. That probably shouldn't have been a foul, but that was also a really tough shot. Whoa, Embiid. We don't want to get fined. Sure he doesn't care. Look. No fucking way. What am I watching? Did you see that shit? Oh my god! Oh my god. Nah, Austin Reeves is fucking insane. What in the fuck? How is his catch and shoot three-pointer gotten so good? How? How is this possible? How has he gotten so good at shooting the three? That's fucking impressive as shit, bro. Anyways, Sixers losing a close one. Dominic Barlow's had a really good season so far. 13 points. Surely he doesn't really stretch the floor as well as you'd want him to, but I mean 60% shooting, and the guy can play on both sides of the floor. Really, really good game for Embiid. I've loved kind of the career resurgence we've seen out of a guy like that. 35 points, 50% three-point shooting, and he does everything in between. He can rebound, he can pass, plays really well at the rim defensively, all that stuff. 26 for Tyrese Maxey, 26 and 13. Certainly not the greatest three-point shooter all the time, but 50% overall shooting, and the guy was defending his ass off on the perimeter, as was VJ Edgecombe, and VJ Edgecombe 19 and 10. He struggled inside, but he hit some threes. My God. Kelly Oubre definitely struggled offensively. I like him as a defensive player, but offense definitely could have been there more, and sure, they're definitely short on some guys. Paul George got suspended, I think, 20 fucking games, which is very unfortunate, and that could have definitely helped if they had him to fill in, but yeah, they don't really have the depth right now. They're very top-heavy, which is probably going to be a problem for the Sixers come playoff time, but yeah, I don't know. Kelly Oubre just not the greatest game. LeBron put up 17 and 10. A lot of turnovers, but, it is what it is. I don't know. I really don't know what else to say. 14 out of Jake LaRavia. He's a great defender. 10 points for DeAndre Ayton. He shot 80%. He was a really good rebounder, really good at the rim defender. Before Luka got hurt, he put up 10. A lot of turnovers, but him and LeBron have the ball in their hands a lot. So does Austin Reeves. They pick their primary ball handlers, and they kind of fucking roll with it. If you haven't watched a Lakers game already, that's what they do. 14 off the bench for Rui Hachimura, made both of his threes, grabbed a lot of boards. AR, man, look at this dude, man. 35 points and great rebounding, and in only 17 shots, you put up 35 points? This guy, it's just pure ethical basketball. Did you see that catch and shoot? He literally just chucked it up and went in. Is this guy studying Steph Curry? I don't even fucking know. This is incredible. Anyways, let's check out the trade deadline. See this article they posted. Winners, losers. The biggest winners and losers of a busy week, huh? The 2025-26 NBA trade deadline came and went. Giannis Antetokounmpo wasn't traded, which is an interesting choice, but a whole host of other players changed teams and future draft picks changed hands, of course. The Dallas Mavericks moved on from Nico Harrison's shocking trade for Anthony Davis. With a whopping pull from Luka Doncic, what did they get? Chris Middleton. Sending the big to the Washington Wizards, though. Anthony Davis is on the Wizards, and I really like that move for the Washington Wizards. The Golden State Warriors finally put an end to the Jonathan Kuminga saga, sending him and Buddy Hield to the Atlanta Hawks for Mr. Tingus Pingus. And in perhaps the most shocking trade of the deadline, James Harden left the surging LA Clippers, not sure why, to give the Cleveland Cavaliers a boost in the East. That's going to be really fun with Donovan Mitchell. Not sure if it's going to work out. We'll see. There's a whole lot to analyze. Let's dive into it. Yes, sir. The big winners are the Cleveland Cavaliers by consensus. Cleveland is finally on a hot streak. 9-2 since a 22-19 start, which is cool. The preseason Eastern Conference favorite improved at the deadline. Obviously they won the East last year, so they're going to be bound to be favored now. Out of 11 players with at least 500 minutes for the Cavs this season, the 3 worst net ratings belong to Darius Garland. Yeah, Darius Garland. I try to say it. People on Twitter are like, "Oh my God, he's a good player." No, he's played like shit this year. Minus 3.0. DeAndre Hunter, minus 0.9. And Lonzo Ball, minus 1.3. And now all 3 are gone. That's a good move. They're replaced by James Harden, Keon Ellis, Dennis Schroeder. Come on, Dennis Schroeder's going to do more for your team than Lonzo Ball. James Harden's going to do more for your team than Darius Garland. Keon Ellis, while not the greatest offensive player, he's going to do more defensively than DeAndre Hunter. Swapping the 26-year-old Garland for the 36-year-old Harden might cost the Cavaliers in future seasons. We're trying to win now. Donovan Mitchell's a veteran as well. But at the moment, Harden is undoubtedly better and healthier than the former Cavs point guard, like I said. And he should help reduce the offensive burden on Donovan Mitchell, which is great. Most nights, Donovan Mitchell has to put up fucking 40 points for them to win games. Posting his highest usage rate. Yes. Since he was in Utah. Yes. Harden's weaknesses also line up with Garland's. He's not the most engaged defender. He's definitely a better defender than Garland, though. Still bigger. Yeah, he can't be counted on in the playoffs. Garland has a shaky postseason track record, too, of course. Cleveland's other deadline addition should also reinforce the roster. Ellis is the best defender in the Cavaliers' backcourt, while Schroeder is a wild card who has alternated between incredible productivity and lackluster play in all of his recent stops. Maybe he'll switch back to the former again in Cleveland. It's very hit or miss, obviously, when you get Dennis Schroeder on your franchise. I agree with that. Moreover, adding these 2 players while shedding Hunter and Ball means Cleveland saved approximately $100 million in luxury tax payments. It's not often that a contender gets better and cheaper at the deadline, but Cleveland pulled that off. Good points. Surprise star destinations here for Utah. Okay, Jaren Jackson, Anthony Davis, Zubac. So as of Thursday, the Wizards, Jazz, and Pacers are a combined 42 and 109. That's a 23 and 59 record when translated to 82 games on average, which is fucking terrible. Tank level, of course. And the Wizards and Jazz are eager to lose enough games this season to retain the top 8 protected picks they owe to the Knicks and Thunder, respectively. Yet that didn't stop Washington, Utah, and Indiana from emerging to make big roster upgrades at the deadline. Obviously, Washington, before Anthony Davis, already traded for Trae Young, who is still a relatively young player. They did that last month. They added Anthony Davis this week. Ironically, it wasn't that long ago that plenty of folks around the NBA envisioned a Young-Davis pairing in LA, actually, while Utah splurged for Jaren Jackson Jr. and the Pacers made a late splash for Ivica Zubac. Again, Jaren Jackson, still a kind of young player. Ivica Zubac definitely getting a little older, but could definitely give the Pacers a boost when Tyrese Haliburton returns. On a broad level, this deadline theme reflects the NBA's new financial environment as the harsh penalties of the aprons intersect with a league-wide desire for more youth and depth. Sure, they've definitely enforced more rules with like the draft picks and stuff. Not many teams are interested in adding borderline all-stars making around $50 million per season, as is the case for Young, Davis, and Jackson, unless you have an otherwise clean cap sheet like the Jazz and Wizards do. They got money to spend. That's basically what we're saying. The Pacers' move for Zubac was different, as Indiana, in the middle of an injury-induced gap year, kind of following a trip to the finals last season, sought a replacement for Miles Turner. They definitely got it. Maybe not the greatest shooter, but he makes up for it by being a better rebounder, a better interior threat, and a better defender. Maybe. Zubac is both on a cheaper contract than Davis and Jackson, of course, 3 years for $58.7 million total, and a phenomenal two-way fit with the extant Pacers core, so his price was commensurately higher. Upcoming restricted free agent Benedict Mathurin and 2 first-round picks. Benedict Mathurin was getting paid a fuck ton. After having a solid first couple of seasons with the Pacers, they paid that man a fuck ton of money. To be clear, while the Pacers should return to contention with Zubac right away in 2026 and 27, sure, the Wizards and Jazz might not have made winning moves, as it's very plausible that neither Washington nor Utah makes the playoffs with their new All-Stars next season. Wizards aren't going to make... They got to at least make the play-in. You have Trae Young and Anthony Davis. You're going to make the play-in. They also got Jaden Hardy. But as a concept, the surprise star destinations added a fun wrinkle. Of course. I mean, is it always the greatest? Maybe not. But, I don't know. Jaren Jackson Jr. trade was definitely crazy. I mean, it's a lot of implications for obviously like Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. And that's something I guess you could talk about. Is Ja Morant's probably gone. The Grizzlies have officially decided it's rebuilding time. The Jaren and Ja experiment did not work out. Utah Jazz ball movement lost. Over the past 3 seasons, 47 players are averaging at least 20 points per game. Only 2 of them are below 3 assists per contest. Incumbent Jazz forward Lauri Markkanen, 1.9, and new Jazz forward Jaren Jackson Jr., 2.1. So a lot of just ISO ball. Toss in presumptive starting shooting guard Ace Bailey, who's averaging 1.6 assists his rookie season after struggling with his playmaking in college, 1.3. And that's a perimeter rotation full of ball stoppers. Yeah, that might be a problem. That's not compatible with the way Jazz coach Will Hardy likes his team to play. Utah leads the league in assist percentage this season, thanks to its point guards Keontae George and Isaiah Collier. And center Yusuf Nurkic, who's averaging 4.9 assists per game. That's got to be a career high, kind of as a hub in the middle. Nurkic even tallied 3 consecutive triple-doubles last month, which is crazy. Going forward, though, the Jazz have apparently decided to sacrifice ball movement for the sake of increased size, shooting, and defense. That might be a worthy trade-off. Jackson and center Walker Kessler in particular should form an imposing rim protection duo once Kessler, a restricted free agent this summer, returns from his surgery to repair a torn labrum. But this setup puts a ton of pressure on George to continue his development as a franchise point guard, or else Utah's offense will stagnate just as the team hopes to round the corner towards competitiveness. Yeah, it might be a little young. Keontae George might be a little young to do this. The proactive Memphis Grizzlies, they're winners for the sake of rebuilding, I suppose. Yeah, on the other side of the Jackson trade is Memphis, which has done well in the first 2 major moves of its rebuild. Last summer, the Grizzlies acquired 4 first-round picks in a swap for Desmond Bane, who wasn't really going to be a franchise player, good value for a solid player who's never made an all-star team. Memphis subsequently traded 2 of those picks to nab rookie standout Cedric Coward in the draft, which was a very good pick. 8 months later, the Grizzlies flipped Jackson for 3 picks and a couple of unproven young players with potential, including the number 18 pick in the 2025 class, Walter Clayton Jr., so that is another good young pickup. In a vacuum, Jackson has a higher ceiling than Bane, as a 2-time All-Star and a Defensive Player of the Year winner. But his quality of play has slipped a tad, and if Jackson is more good than great on both ends, as he has looked this season, he's likely not worth his upcoming contract extension, which kicks in next season at 4 years and $205 million. So, Jazz are kind of in a shitty spot, if I'm going to be honest with you. The downside, of course, is that Memphis is now staring at a long rebuild, and it still needs to figure out the next steps for Ja Morant, probably out of there. But the Morant-Bane-Jackson core had clearly run its course after just a single playoff series win. The Grizzlies were proactive in trading Payne and Jackson, and now they're flush with what is among the most future draft capital for any team in the league. This team needs it more than anyone. They've teetered. On a related note, some criticism since the Jackson trade that the Grizzlies didn't land any good picks in the deal. They'll get the Lakers' top 4 protected 2027 pick, the best 2027 pick from the Jazz, Timberwolves, or Cavs, and the Suns' 2031 pick. But it's far too premature for such a conclusion. First, even though the Suns have impressed with their turnaround this season, their 2031 pick could be lucrative, as it's all but impossible to predict how good a team will be half a decade into the future. And the Jazz could easily end up giving Memphis a lottery pick next year for what appears to be an admittedly weak draft class. I don't agree with that, because even with Jackson, still project them as a play-in team. That's fair. Yeah, Mavs essentially cutting their losses by trading AD to the Wizards. Yeah, I mean, 8-player trade. Former Dallas Mavericks GM Nico Harrison. Oh yeah, this Luka trade looks fucking terrible looking back on it. It's bad. As if the deposed Mavericks general manager needed any more ignominy added to his ledger. His former team traded Davis for a paltry return just a year after prizing him in the surprise Luka Doncic blockbuster. Dallas traded the apple of Harrison's eye for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, and a 2026 first-round pick from the Thunder, likely a number 30 overall. We're talking about the best team in the NBA. A 2030 first-round pick from the Warriors, only if it lands in the 21 to 30 range, and 3 second-rounders. Put another way, the Mavs ended up essentially trading a generational superstar for 1 rotation player, which was Max Christie, 2 bad first-round picks, and 1 as yet unknown first-round pick from the Lakers in 2029. That's roughly the same overall value that Memphis received from Jaren Jackson Jr. We're talking about Luka Doncic. Nikola Vucevic, sure, definitely won it. Vucevic is a consummate professional who's enjoyed a long and productive NBA career. The 15-year veteran is a 2-time All-Star with more than 17,000 points and 10,000 rebounds. Great. Plus nearly $200 million in career earnings. But he has never had a deep playoff run, as his postseason resume consists of just 3 5-game losses in the first round, not counting his rookie season when he was a deep reserve who played 3 playoff minutes for the 2011-12 Sixers. Now, the 35-year-old center will get his chance after a trade from Chicago to Boston. The Celtics didn't just save money and gain roster flexibility by dipping under the first apron with this move, which swapped out Anthony Simons' very high, by the way, $27.7 million salary for Vucevic's just $21.5 million deal. They also gained a better version of Luka Garza for their center rotation. That's what I'm saying. So, to give Luka Garza some time to develop, we picked up Vucevic, who is basically another version of Luka Garza for a couple years. Vucevic is a defensive liability. We all talk about that against the best competition. He's allowing opponents to shoot 68% at the rim this season, really bad, which ranks 30th among 31 players who have defended at least 200 shots. For reference, Garza isn't close to that 200-shot threshold, but he has allowed a similar 67% mark at the rim, which starting center, Celtic center Neemias Queta has held opponents to 56%. But yeah, Luka Garza, not it right now. We got to develop him. But Vucevic is an upgrade on the offensive end and a great fit for Boston's perimeter-oriented system. He can shoot the goddamn ball. That's what we want. Over the past 2 seasons, he has made 39% of his 4.5 3-point attempts per game. Okay, there's a lot of shit going on here. Okay, we're nearing the end of this. let's get to this. So, loser oops trades. Interesting. Let's get into this. Another theme of deadline deals was what you could call oops trades. They happen every year. Numerous teams sought to extract themselves from tricky situations they'd entered with a different recent move. The Davis trade is a great example, as the Mavericks decided to cut bait with the main part of their haul for Doncic just a year later, even if the return was essentially a couple of back-end first-round picks and financial relief. But that's far from the only example this week. The Knicks signed Gershon Yabusele to bolster their bench, but his place cratered in New York. Oops, now Yabusele is a Bull. Point guards Chris Paul, Tyus Jones, and Lonzo Ball joined the Clippers, Magic, and Cavaliers, respectively, last summer. Oops, oops, oops. All three were moved at the deadline to help their teams save money. The Cleveland-Sacramento trade was a double oops move, as the Cavaliers moved Hunter a year after acquiring him at the 2024-25 deadline, while the Kings backpedaled from the 3-year deal they offered Schroeder in free agency. So too was the trade between Atlanta and Golden State, which ended Kristaps Porzingis' injury-marred Hawks tenure after half a season and put the Warriors' Jonathan Kuminga drama at long last to rest. Winner, Madison Square Garden. It's difficult to imagine a role player more suited to excite Knicks fans than Jose Alvarado. I mean, I guess that's a good point. Pesky, hustling guard who grew up in New York City. The MSG faithful adored Pablo Prigioni in the 2010s. Well, look at that. And now they have a better, homegrown version of that archetype a decade later after the Knicks turned Yabusele and 2 second-round picks into Alvarado. Pretty fun. That's a really good trade for the Knicks. It's not clear how much playing time Alvarado will receive in New York. I mean, they have Tyler Kolek, they have Landry Shamet, they have Jordan Clarkson, they have Miles McBride. They have a very strong guard play. You know, obviously Miles McBride could be sidelined until the playoffs as he undergoes core muscle surgery. They have those as backcourt options off the bench. But when he does play, Alvarado should help the Knicks' depth and inspire his new team's fans into a frenzy whenever he dives for a loose ball or grabs one of his patented backcourt steals. He's a great defensive guy. He's a great glue piece for a franchise. The Knicks fans are going to love him. And obviously we'll get into Jared McCain as the Sixers create roster room by trading him. Let's look at some details here. The Oklahoma City Thunder, despite being one of the best teams pretty much surefire best team in the NBA, they win the trade deadline here. Despite the dizzying density of deals this week, not many are likely to have a great impact on the 2026 title race. That's great news for the championship favorites. The best players to change teams since the start of the season were, in an order, Anthony Davis, Harden, Zubac, Jackson, Young, Garland, and Porzingis, if healthy. They joined teams with no shot at making the playoffs. Teams in the Western Conference play-in mix and an Eastern Conference contender in the Cavaliers. Meanwhile, the Nuggets made only a small trade to duck under the luxury tax line, while the San Antonio Spurs and Houston Rockets were quiet, and the Los Angeles Lakers added only Luke Kennard, which is a really cool piece, who will boost their perimeter shooting but won't improve the NBA's 24th ranked defense. Maybe that's what J.J. Redick's having problems with in the pressers. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, Ayo Dosunmu is a strong fit next to Anthony Edwards. That's a really good trade, and Jaden McDaniels, but by and large, all the top challengers to Oklahoma City in the West are no more of a threat today than they were a week ago. The Thunder also made a shrewd trade of their own, giving up a pick that will likely land in the 20s via Houston for Jared McCain, who might have been the Rookie of the Year last season if he'd played more than 23 games. McCain hasn't been as impressive in his sophomore season as he has returned from knee and thumb surgeries, but the Thunder still acquired a player on a cheap rookie contract with plenty of potential, which could be especially helpful in future seasons, as pricey extensions for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren cut into the Thunder's depth. So, of course, the Thunder know how to develop young players. They've been doing it for years. They kind of did it with Shai, because he was never the same. They did it with Russell Westbrook. They did it with Kevin Durant. To an extent, they did it to James Harden. Who knows? Finally, Oklahoma City's position in the 2026 draft likely improved this week, even as the Thunder surrendered a late first-rounder. The Clippers, who owe an unprotected pick to Oklahoma City this year, got much worse with their trades of Harden and Zubac. So, holy shit, it increases the odds that they'll send a lottery pick to the Thunder. What are the Clippers doing? No, the Clippers are dumb. Meanwhile, the Jazz, who owe a top 8 protected pick to Oklahoma City, got better with Jackson, increasing the odds that they'll send any pick to the Thunder, even if Utah will still do everything in its power to keep that pick. Just about the only bad news for the Thunder this week had nothing to do with trades. Gilgeous-Alexander will be out until at least the All-Star break because of an abdominal strain. Given myriad other Thunder injuries, they were missing all 5 of their usual starters in a loss to the Spurs on Wednesday, which is why I didn't talk about that game, and their reliance on the reigning MVP. That absence could cost Oklahoma City home court advantage in the playoffs. Maybe. The Thunder have 4 more games until the All-Star break, and they're up only 5 games, which is crazy, over the second-seeded Spurs in the West, and 1.5 games over the East-leading Pistons, which is crazy. I don't know if that factors in or anything. We talked about the trade deadline for 41 minutes. All right, that was good. That was good concision. Let's get into this J. Cole album, and then I'm ready to go to fucking bed, guys. I can't even lie to you. Holy shit, I'm exhausted. But that's the trade deadline. I'm really happy to get Vucevic. I'm really happy he's a cheaper player and a better player than Anthony Simons. I'm really happy we can give Luka Garza some time to develop. And with the impressive season that the Boston Celtics are having, I think Jason Tatum could potentially come back to the playoffs. Now, I don't want to rush anything, but I'm kind of just looking at the future of the season for my Celtics. It's looking bright. We're contending for a fucking championship at the very moment. Now, a lot can change post-All-Star break. We'll have to see. I'm not going to do a recap on All-Star break. Maybe I will. It could be fun. I don't know. Whatever. It's happening next weekend. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be in my hometown for that. Let's go listen to J. Cole.